Hello, everybody. My name is Drew Dosek, and welcome to Trading the Close. Man, we saw a lot of price action today in the markets. We had both Microsoft and Meta pushing up early in the morning, gapping up from earnings yesterday, and Microsoft nearly sold all day long, and a lot of stocks did that too. We had some hard selling pressure hit the markets today in the afternoon. So let's jump into the data. We got a lot to go over. Keep in mind, tomorrow there could be some more volatility. We got economic data coming out with unemployment as well as non-farm payrolls at 8:30 in the morning. Keep in mind, today we had PCE data come in a little hotter than expected, backing up Jerome Powell's statement the other day saying we need more data to come out. Looks like inflation is upticking ever so slightly. So into the market summary board we go. And we see here on the Dow Jones down 0.87%. NASDAQ with the huge surge on those big tech earnings is basically flat, now up 0.10%. S&P 500 down nearly 1%. U.S. oil reversing its gains from yesterday, down 1.61%. Gold up 0.5%. And Bitcoin still sticking around at same consolidation area, but it is down 0.84% on the day. So let's jump into the S&P 500 heat map, and you can see here, guys, there was a lot of selling going on today and very evident here on the board. Apple earnings coming up after the bell today. Plus, we've got Amazon, Coinbase, and Reddit. But you see here, Apple selling off before the earnings today, down 0.83%. NVIDIA down 0.9%. AVGO down 3%. SMH really took a beating today. Texas Instruments, you see, down 4.61%. And QCOM, we'll take a look at that chart here in a little bit. Qualcomm down 7.67%. Steep fall there for it. Tesla down 3.16%. But we do have some green. As I said, Microsoft and Meta reported, both of which gapped up significantly. Meta held on to its strength for most of the day, whereas Microsoft really gave it up. So let's jump into the S&P 500 on the SPX daily. Look at this big red candle. But then also notice, folks, we've been talking for how long about price potentially reaching this parallel channel? Well, we finally did it today. And when we did it, we started selling nearly as soon as we hit that mark. So that tells you this is a significant level in the market. So back into the charts we go. We notice we've got a couple minutes left till closing, but we do have potential for an engulfing reversal candle where price opens up above previous candle and then also closes underneath the previous day's candle, erasing all sorts of potential. Look how many days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 5.5 days of trading getting reversed in one candle. This is the way the market goes. We take stair steps up and usually the elevator down. So watch out with this candle. This could signify and foreshadow future selling pressure in the markets. Qs, very similar situation. Look at this, about to finish the day, minute and 30 seconds left with an engulfing reversal candle. Very bearish on the charts here for the Qs. Would anticipate further downside should this be accomplished. So very next support, not far away, 562.53. This is going to be a speed bump. I wouldn't be buying the Qs right here, but it's interesting to watch how price reacts to this, especially after gapping up, selling off significantly as we've seen here today. Major support, though, is going to be down here at 539.19. Into the semis we go. And yesterday, if you guys recall, this break into the parallel with a minor close in and a confirming move, I needed to get another backup confirming move on top of this candle. We did not get it today. We didn't get a nice confirming move breaking into that parallel. And as you see, price quickly reversed course, selling back down through this parallel channel. That does not bode well for price action going up. However, it is weakening this area. So if we do not continue to sell tomorrow and say chop in this area, we could very well float back up into the charts. But from what I'm seeing and what happened today, that's unlikely, at least in the near term. So I'm looking more towards the downside with support being at 265 on the SMH. IWM also had a decent down day today, down 0.97%. You see also breaking this declining trend line that we've been focusing on over the past couple weeks. This price action, while still looking like it could continue lower, we'll need to see a confirming move under this trend line tomorrow. If we do, price is then likely going down to 211.15 on the IWM. Next up, Bitcoin still remains in consolidation mode right here. One thing to watch, though, with the selling pressure that went on today, Bitcoin is still a risk on asset. even though a lot of folks have gone to Bitcoin for a store of safety, it's still a risk on assets. Same thing with other altcoins out there in the world. So if the markets continue to sell, we'll likely see Bitcoin come down even further on the charts. As I've said, I've been looking for this first level to get tagged, $113,641. Next up, gold. Gold did get a little bounce. You can see here, this is the beauty of technical analysis, folks. We had price accelerating down the last week on gold and then caught a little bit of a bounce today, pushed all the way up to 33.14 before reversing course and coming down, finishing under $3,300. We'll see if we get consolidation in this area in the coming days. That would then imply a break, which would then have the next area of good key support on gold down here under $3,100, right at $3,094. Next up, silver. Silver saw a great sell the last couple days. Notice where price is closing today. That's the first support zone. And if you recall, I'm not typically buying the first support zone. Even though we've got some great consolidation in this area, price clearly is respecting this support area today. I'll be watching for future days if price is going to come down a little bit further, 34.86. This area will be a great support zone. This one even better underneath this 34.86 to this inclining trend line. The inclining trend line roughly right around $33 on the chart. So right in that zone, basically anything under here, you can start picking up some silver for potential bounce play to head back up to the top end of this inclining trend line. Next up, we've got U.S. oil. U.S. oil broke above yesterday, this declining trend line, but did not confirm above. Since reverse course most of the gains yesterday, basically closing at the same area where price closed on Tuesday. So basically that kicks the can into tomorrow. If oil does push up more, that then will confirm above this trend line, which will flip this trend line from resistance into support. So we'll see if that happens. Ultimately, the longer pattern on this is still a bearish consolidation pattern. So we're right here at a crossroads. If oil's got to break higher, confirm, the likelihood would then shift for a move up here to $75. Still with this pattern, the way it is with no confirmation, is likely still headed lower on oil down to the $60 range on the chart. Nat gas we see here today did pierce through the $3 support area that we've been highlighting. Notice this has been basically a triple bottom hit on the most recent price action of the chart of the daily nat gas. So great bounce up and ultimately regaining this consolidation area. So right now, nat gas, from what I see technically speaking, is in a neutral state, even though we do have a bear flag pattern. This test candle and price action bounce today is getting it back into this area. So it's not bullish, and it's not 100% bearish. We'll see where price action takes us tomorrow. If we're able to push up, tag this resistance trend line at $3.21, that would then bode well for nat gas to reattack and potentially break higher on that chart. But great bounce off this support area today. Next up, the dollar did push higher ever so slightly today, but ultimately, I want to just still point out inverse head and shoulders pattern with a targeted measured move up here at 101.41. So we're still looking for about $1.40 to go here before that measured move is completed. And in that case, we'll then reevaluate the chart to see where price will likely take us on this DXY chart. Next up, MSTR. Now, MSTR does report earnings today. You see after the bell, already some price action moving up just ever so slightly on the chart. First area of resistance I'm watching is this inclining trend line right here. You can see it at 450. It's basically 449.46 where my mouse is, but a pierce of 450 would be great resistance, followed by 476.43 to the downside once earnings hit the market. We're looking at 346.58 for support. So there's the bookend price action for today's earnings. Next up, also reporting earnings today, is Cloudflare Inc. So we have a price action, as you see here, reporting this afternoon. Price action today ran straight into this inclining trend line. You notice I've taken that back from the February 12th of 2024 pivot and connected it through the highs here in February of 2025, and price action today pierced it, but look where it closed, right on that trend line. Now, the all-time highs on net is up here at 221.64. I'll be watching if price excels up on earnings. We're likely going to pierce this area, but ultimately start settling down near it. So be watching that area if price moves to the upside. Looks like price is starting to break down. My area of support right here is 182. 29. So be watching those levels today in the after hours. Next up, Carvana. Now, Carvana did report earnings yesterday after the bell, gapped up very nicely, but then look at the selling pressure that took place, gapped up over this parallel. Guys, normally whenever you have a gap over resistance, much like what is shown here on the chart, that frees up the chart to start pushing higher and continue going higher, likely making a new trend to start going higher. But we're not seeing that with a lot of these charts. That's raising flags for me. Obviously, with the speech coming out from Jerome Powell, very hesitant on putting forth any rate cuts in the future. So investors are hearing that loud and clear and hitting the sell button when these stocks gap up as much as they have, especially on Microsoft. Now, one that did buck the trend is next up here with Meta. So let's look at Meta, what happened today. Meta, as you see here, gapped up into this parallel channel. Notice we've made attempts to get up in here before, but have been rejected. And if I scroll back out on this chart of Meta, you can see we violated it to the upside, ultimately a bull trap, and then sold off, tried to get back in, and then sold off again. Now we're gapping up into it, making brand new all-time highs, by the way, but creating somewhat of a doji candle today. That says there's indecision. That says there's a lot of people that are interested in selling. But if you look here on the 10-minute chart, price really just remained up here on Meta nearly the entire day. What I'm going to be watching in the future days to come, do we then start selling off? Do we get support here on this inclining parallel channel? We likely won't unless we confirm a move price higher than today's candle. That doesn't look likely, especially with a lot of sellers out there. And what I'm talking about is when you look over at the Microsoft chart, look at that selling pressure. Unbelievable. Price action today opened up here and really never caught a bid. When you have these tech giants, these moguls that are having great earnings, they're beating on earnings, and they can't hold a lot of their gains, that's not a good sign, folks. That's not good. That's telling me a lot of big institutions are very eager to go ahead and get out of the markets, considering we've been having price butt up against this inclining resistance trend line for about a week and a half now. Finally, we're able to get above it. Much like what I've described on the other chart, we should be gapping up and running higher, not gapping up and selling off. That's not typical for any sort of bullish momentum. Be watching for price on Microsoft to come in to this inclining trend line roughly at $518 in the near to midterm. Next up, Roblox. Similar situation, guys. Look at this. Gap up. No gap and go on this bull flag consolidation. It was gap and sell right in through all of the day on Roblox. Roblox did have a mixed bag. They did miss on EPS, but they did beat on revenue by 13.32%, albeit though decent sell-off. Now looking at the first level of support near these pivots at 127.93. Also notice this inclining trend line right here that intersects right there with that support area. So this inclining trend line and that support should give Roblox at least some pausing, potential consolidation before determining to go higher or lower and breaking lower on the charts. Next up, eBay. eBay was one of those companies today that did push higher to brand new all-time highs. They did report earnings yesterday, 5.67% beat on earnings per share, and then also a 3.27 beat on revenue. But notice price opened up today right into this inclining trend line, hesitated for a little bit, then just continued going higher on the charts. Great move today on eBay, all while maintaining its strength, holding price up on the charts. You got to give it credit. Where's eBay going next? Let's flip to the monthly chart, everybody. Next area eBay's going, look from trend line pivot created here on December 4th or December 1st, 2004. That's a long time ago, folks. And then this next pivot here on October of 2021 creates our next resistance area on this chart that is making brand new all-time highs. And you can see that resistance area basically is at $94. So typically whenever we have price come that close to what I say like a whole round number, like a 95 or a 90, I would almost anticipate price, should it excel higher in the coming days, to pierce this level, potentially get to 95, and then start to reverse course, come back in and retest this inclining trend line, roughly $89.26. Next up, we've got ARM. Now, ARM also did report earnings yesterday. They did beat on their earnings per share at 0.26%, but missed on revenue, and the stock just collapsed down. Opened up right here on the charts, just under $150, then continued selling most of the day. And you can even see after hours now starting to reach the lows of the day on the chart. So next area of support to watch is 134.58. Followed by 124.15. Notice how both of these areas of support align with consolidation, and this 124.15 aligns with two levels of consolidation back on the chart. So this area will be a stronger support level. Although if the markets do start turning back up going into the weekend and into next week, we could see support there at 134.58, as that is the first level to be paying attention to. Also notice we've got gap fill here and gap fill here on the chart of ARM, roughly 133 on that chart. Lastly, we've got QCOM. QCOM also did report earnings, a double beat on earnings, but it didn't even get the chance to get a gap and dump. We just dumped all day. We dumped down here, had a little pop, but then ended up just selling off for the remainder of the day. A lot of red selling action on this big earnings report day. Now, again, as I said, we got Apple, Amazon, Coinbase, and Reddit. Can those companies save it? We'll see tomorrow. And then also with the jobs report too, we've got a lot of stuff, a lot of speed bumps and potential hazards on the very near term. If QCOM does continue this decline, first area support at 142.20, followed by 137.15. But ultimately, if the selling persists, this longer term, and when these longer term trend lines present themselves, they're typically very strong. Notice every time when prices come back into this trend line, we've gotten decent bounces. Same thing here. When we hit it the third time, we got a great bounce up there on QCOM. Now, a fourth hit is vulnerable for a break, but coming from an extended distance will likely still yield a bounce. Now, that trend line currently right around 128.22. All right, guys, that wraps up Trading the Close. Please hit that like button and subscribe. We're going to be bringing you guys all the most important information for the markets, helping you make great trades on your own. Can't wait to see you guys next Monday. Until then, have a fantastic weekend. And thanks so much. I'll see you on the charts. Take care.